mute when it's your feel or phenomenal enough so we can do what's Hondo on the mic from Leo's Paradise. Random stream drop like a Dragon Ball fight. No lie, plan stream stacking up, but here's a twist in time. Freestyling on the deck like Luffy's punchlines. Up the channels faster than Zoro sword swings. Gaming pop culture, it's the chaos he brings. Talking movie reboots, superhero hype. Hondo passing the mic, now Bishop's in sight. Cutting glitch screen, frame by frame, I align. Laying bass lines heavy, keep the rhythm divine. Jumping fire videos, can't keep up with the pace. Pass the mic back, Leo's leading the chase. Off the rails, no script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Playing a knob, Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life. No script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Planning on, Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life. Just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Planning on, Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life.
Welcome back to the Countercast. How are all you vital idols doing? It has been a hell of a day, let me tell you. Obviously, we got to talk about Zelda. I ain't talked about Zelda in ages. A few days ago, some leaks dropped. But before that, Bonsai Pop. Man, probably the most cancerous account YouTube channel in the anime scene. And that's saying a lot considering like the anime man exists. Before I do that, I gotta do this with my partner in crime. Cindy, tell the people who you are and what you do.
I'm not ready to talk about Bonsai Pop.
Well, you'll probably take most of the stream considering how long the video is.
He makes me crash the fuck out. Oh my gosh. Hey guys, I'm Cindy. I like to talk about anime and gaming and on occasion a little bit of horror. So I feel like this is all combined into one.
Oh, well, we got plenty of horror considering, again, we're doing a Bonsai Pop video. Before that, who we got in the house? I got Honey Maui is here, shout out. Faye in the house, Valiant Goat, Spectral Heartless is here, Saint Hugo, Sleeping Nova. We got a boy Hypno, shout out. Hypno mode is in chat, everybody. Eagle Lord up in his bitch, Gal Harrymon is here, Patrick Roxas, appreciate you. Revy's husband, it's been a hot minute since I've seen you, Revy's husband. What did Bonsai Pop do? What didn't they do? Bonsai Pop retarded. Again, arguably the most retarded account when it comes to anime on the platform. Butterframe and Gold is here. Shout out Butterframe and Gold. How you doing? Person 1140 or Persone. However, AJ said it.
Person.
Yeah, I know it's person, but AJ said it in some retarded fashion. He called them like person or something like that because you know he's black and can't read. So yeah, shout out to all the vital idols here in chat. Guys, we got a lot to get through and we got 2 hours. So let's just hey, Abomination AJ, speak of the devil. All right, let's get into it. Cindy, how do you feel when I read the title Japan, America, and Genocide? Why anime is constantly hammering it home?
I think this guy does deserve that nose ring that he's got in his nose. He's earned it.
Yeah, I guess nose ring theory could apply to dudes, huh?
In fact, I'm so upset he's got Hello Kitty anywhere in his house. He should have all of that anime weeb stuff, all the video games just revoked from his home just for the nose ring alone.
He can play cozy games. He can play Animal Crossing and shit.
He could go play that. What is it? The Lord of the Rings, Tales from the Shire.
Yeah, there you go. That Tales from the Shire is a perfect Bonsai Pop game. Well, let's get into it. Yeah, America, Japan, and genocide.
Wow, I hope everybody is ready for an extremely fun episode today. Let's start with a little bit of philosophy. I feel like in any debate, we're always caught in a specific nexus: human nature versus social conditioning. What makes something natural versus normalized? Is it natural to be amoral or empathetic? Is amorality simply normalized and accepted? It's a tough question when you look back into the history and see humans, regardless of race.
It's only a tough question if you're a godless heathen like Bonsai Pop. Those people who believe in any sort of, actual legitimate religion, not even specifying Christianity, even though that's what I subscribe to, but just any religion that's got, fundamental moral baselines. No, it's not a difficult question whatsoever.
Well, it wouldn't be difficult if they actually understood some of the meaning of these words that they're using.
Right, yeah. When you've got these whole media literacy types, the everything is subjective types, then yeah, no
Mhm.
wonder these questions are difficult for you because you don't have a baseline agreement on what the terms actually mean.
Yeah.
Religion or geographical location, continually doing the same things over and over, which is true. National tide, the idea of pack mentality forcing the state in one direction, or the great man theory, the idea that it's the will of a strong figurehead which changes the course of a nation. When unanswerable questions such as these arise, all we can do is look inside of ourselves.
They're not unanswerable questions. Like, you might disagree with the answers that people come to, but they're not unanswerable by that, because we can give answers to them. We can agree or disagree or have debates or conversations or dialogue about whether we came to the correct answer.
Well, that would require them to be open to the fact that other people have differing opinions. You're not allowed to, or else you are, in fact, a fascist or a Nazi. Either
Well,
way.
it would also, require them to be able to have some idea of, again, objective moral truths, or, I mean, again, and like you said, come to the agreement on, hey, everybody is allowed to have differing opinions. Yeah, again, this neo-Marxist, everything is subjective slop is pretty much what we're into for the whole video and how it relates to anime and apparently genocide. So
our experiences and who we truly are to find our own answer. Because regardless of race, religion, or geographical location, we are all human. Just one species. Our outsides may look different, but inside we are all the same.
Is he allowed to say
we
that?
feel the same feeling.
which part?
That we are all one species. Doesn't that go against their creed or something?
No, that's true. I mean, that one I think does check out. We are all, the human race, the human species, the whole line. So that checks out. Again,
Yeah, but what about furries? You're like trampling on furries, right?
Furries aren't human and don't deserve human rights, so furries don't matter.
Wow, even the woke don't recognize them. That's interesting.
And yes, while I acknowledge that is an oversimplification, and you could actually that we have psychopaths and sociopaths and narcissists and others who feel all very different or not much at all. People with these conditions appear at similar levels in every society. We all have to deal with them, and thankfully they're a small minority. What I'm getting at is that the human condition is universal, whether you're...
Well, actually, sociopathy and psychopathy rates have been notably rising. Now, some people attribute that to the rise of the internet. Other people point to the idea that it was always there, but because we had larger social and stricter, rules with just the social contract that we all signed by living together in society, people kept it hidden more. We're also actually seeing studies that show that the amount of psychopathy and sociopathy found in females might be way higher than it was initially believed, which doesn't surprise me in the slightest. So when he says that they're a minority, I immediately jump to the idea that if you subscribe to any sort of communist ideology, such as what Bonsai Pop does, you're going to see a larger number of psychopaths and sociopaths, because it just comes with the territory of giving away the idea of individual liberty and individual freedoms and, frankly, responsibility and accountability, and letting the state take care of everything.
Holy shit. that was
a lot.
That was a lot.
American or South African, Iraqi, or Japanese. You get it. You're not dumb. What that condition is, of course, is debated, but we can't avoid it. It's everywhere we look, whether it's in cynical advertisements or expressions of art. Universality isn't just a philosophical observation. It's the reason stories travel. It's why Japanese stories can speak to Americans, and why anime can reflect American political realities, even when the creator may never have stepped foot on the land of freedom soil. So a video ago.
In other words, that's a fancy schmancy way of saying I'm reading into this shit too much because I want it to reflect my policies. Sonic the Hedgehog would agree with me politically.
That, and it's taking place in another country, so my opinion is way more valid now.
Yeah, right, exactly.
We spoke about politics and anime. It was fun. This is going to be more fun. People weighed in and gave their takes, mostly good ones on that video, considering how not based I outed myself as, but there were also some impressively demented comments, even for the internet. However, one I couldn't get over was the accusation that anime couldn't possibly be used as an example of American or frankly any other political situation because it's Japanese. Essentially saying that because
now I will say that is a retarded comment. Yes, anime can be used as that. However, the idea that it is frequently used as that is where I draw the line.
Or that it is inherently political, like they like to believe everything else is.
Right. Yeah,
Oh
the
my
all
gosh.
art is political crowd.
I hate them so much.
it came from Japan, anime is unique and can only be understood from a Japanese perspective because, and I can only assume this is the bottom line take here, Japanese people are aliens or something? Now, obviously that's a melting brain.
The Japanese! It's
What?
simple. It's like Japanese people are the Japanese. They're not American. They're not Russian. They're not Chinese. They're the Japanese. They're not aliens. Oh my fucking God. Shut up, dude.
Actually, if a Japanese individual were to come to America, he would be an alien.
Yes,
alien doesn't inherently
in that
mean
case.
ET. So, like, yeah, anyone can be an alien if they're going to a land that is not their land. So, technically, if you got a Japanese dude who's in America, he is in fact an alien. Just again, not the outer spacey kind that Buzz Lightyear would find himself in mutual combat with. But yeah, again, the idea that this anime can reflect American politics and stuff to that effect is true. However, it is rare, and it's far more rare than a lot of these people would deem to admit, and that's because the left-right political dynamic in America is actually pretty unique to America. So it would take a very firm understanding of the left-right dynamic in America and why it's different than pretty much everywhere else in the world. I just don't see a lot of mangaka giving enough of a fuck to make manga or anime that ascribe to that or have a message about that, because it's not. Anime and manga aren't for Americans. They're for the Japanese first and foremost, and then it's exported to all these other countries. So most of the time, I'd say probably solid 90% of the time, they're going to focus on Japanese era style philosophy, political science, things like that.
I feel like this dude's colonizer coded. Like he's got this. Well, because it's my mentality and because it's your land, I'm going to take it over with how I feel. So, yeah, he's colonizer coded.
Based.
In view of literally everything. Cultures differ, you see, but the psychological, political, and historical forces that produce violence, nationalism, and genocide are universal. You don't need to be specifically Japanese or American to understand a story about oppression, displacement, or militarism.
Well, correct. You don't need to be of the culture to understand stories that are universal. I will say he's entirely correct about that. However, I bet he's going to, use that thesis and come to the wrong line of thinking, because again, while these things might be universal, that doesn't mean you can just apply it arbitrarily to your political sentiments.
They're going to try, though.
Oh, they're absolutely going to try. I like it was a they, because frankly, I can't call it in good conscience call this dude a man.
But I thought it created a good prompt for another discussion about human nature, about why, even if we're from different places, even if we speak different languages, even if our histories are branched far apart from each other, stories, music, and art always reveal how similar we really are. There's a way to communicate across borders and through barriers. It's why certain types of stories are so popular and why others are studied as catalysts for great evils. It's why the argument of human nature versus social conditioning is so prevalent, because when you take a second to look a little deeper into art, why it was made, and what it's trying to say, you can learn that our histories really aren't that different when you break them down into pieces. So, let's talk about America and Japan, how similar they really are, and a major factor that unites them: genocide.
By the way, you want to know why they're so similar? Some would say they're so similar because we bombed the fuck out of them and basically said, you don't get to be an army anymore. We're your army and your government now. By the way, we're rewriting your government to be very similar to ours, but we're going to let you keep some of the more Japanese-y aspects for cultural and traditional purposes. Just throwing that out there.
Oh my gosh. I just hate
I
hate hearing what he's fixing to say. Like he just said America and Japan are similar due to genocide. What?
Yeah, but by the way, that would mean all countries and all just throughout the history of the world, not even countries, but tribes and regimes are similar because you're right. Humans been genociding since the beginning, and we're gonna keep at it. It turns out there's one thing humans are really fucking good at is genociding. Like
Yeah,
And
but
how Japanese art.
how
my
what?
gosh. I feel like he's gonna start saying, "Oh, yeah," and I know this isn't what it's gonna be about because he's gonna talk about anime and stuff, but how Japan is now like being really strict about foreigners.
Well,
It's just like,
I would like to point out he's not going to talk about anime. He's going to use anime. He's going to colonize it, as you say, to further his own political agenda and message.
yeah, that's true. Okay, fair enough. So he's gonna start spouting more bullshit. Go ahead.
And real quick, Person says, so is Turkey similar to America too? By this guy's definition of because everything that uses every culture that's used genocide is similar. Yes, it would be.
Artists deal with and communicate that heavy history through manga and anime. It's White Boy Weight Loss Winter, and I've been playing Beat Saber. And
So, White Boy Weight Loss Winter is all great and all that, but first, UAF Omega for a 5-banger says lefties love to use the word colonizer because it subtly reminds them of the part of the body where all their toys go. the colon. That's all right. That's clever. Well done. I appreciate a good little pun like that. Let's play a clip I'm sure would piss off our little buddy Bonsai Pop.
Call it whatever, but if I made $1 for each time I made a racist joke, I would actually have $0. Cause I'm not joking.
Based? Based? Hello?
Alrighty. Even if we completely have zero respect for the content creator, as you know, I have none for Bonsai Pop, I am gonna let the ad read play out because that is the professional thing to do.
until
You're
I can't
kinder
move.
than I am.
Thankfully, this video is sponsored by Factor.
Please wear more
On top
long
of trying to
sleeve
stay
shirts,
fit,
dude.
it's the holidays, which means work, travel, family, and a ton of extra cooking. I'm already dead inside from Thanksgiving and Christmas and dancing until I pass out.
I'm dead inside for having listened to anything you have to say about politics. So again, as long as we can find common ground.
The thought of New Year's still on the horizon is my 13th reason. Or was. Because thankfully, I have Factor. And you can too. But seriously, when my box comes in, I know I'm in business because life is going to be that much easier that week. They save me a ton of time and keep me from blowing my money on delivery as well. Factor delivers fresh, never frozen meals that are ready in just 2 minutes, and they've doubled their menu to over 80 rotating weekly options. So you're getting 3 times more chef-crafted meals than before, and with new Mediterranean Asian dishes, plus more seafood options like salmon and shrimp at no extra cost. I'm currently eating a chicken taco bowl as a little workout recharge, and it is frankly delicious. Factor has also added the option to customize meals, so if you love chicken and hate pork, you can just swap it for free. We've been working with Factor this entire year, and I love getting my box because I know meals are going to be easy that week. Like I said before, you can have that feeling too. So head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code BonsaiPopFB50 to get 50% off your first Factor box plus free breakfast for an entire year. That's code BonsaiPopFB50 at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free breakfast for a year. Go do it. Go use the code. Go to the
subscribes to
Oh,
website. Do the
Soylent
thing.
Green.
Now we're going to get back to this very fun video. If you're sitting there like, okay, but how does that show up in anime? It's everywhere. You got whole races getting wiped out in Dragon Ball, ethnic cleansing in internment camps in Attack on Titan, religion-coded genocide in Full Metal Alchemist. Japan is not subtle about this. Look at Naruto, Dororo, Hunter x Hunter.
Right. Yeah. Genocide is a common thing in all forms of storytelling mediums, books, comics, anime, the whole nine, because it's something that's happened throughout human history. Right. That's not an inherently political thing, mind you. Butterframed in gold for a 5-banger. I would say skip this commie's ad, but show him how to be capitalist he is. Yeah, I love it when communists take ad sponsorships for that exact reason. Shout out Butterframed in gold. Appreciate you, homie.
No
Yeah,
offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
Sorry, go on, Cindy.
No, it's like they like to forget that other worlds, are gonna have politics of their own.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. But again, they can only relate it to the American aspect because America bad.
I feel like it comes back to they can't create anything of their own, so they have to like kind of leech it.
That's exactly what they're doing. That's why they use anime as propaganda. They can't create themselves. So they have to twist and contort it to fit their worldview.
Finland Saga, Pluto, Gyakusatsu Kikan, Himetsu no Uokoku, Promised Neverland, Code Geass, like half the Gundam series. Hell, the whole in Dorohedoro is a concentration camp. You get it. Now, the word genocide makes a lot of people squirm because it's bad. Arguably the worst thing a nation can do. One person can't do a genocide. You see, it takes a village. Or
actually, that's what makes anime so awesome, is that in anime, one person can do a genocide, because Frieza genocided the fuck out of the Saiyans. Like, based Frieza committing just planetary genocide with a finger. So yeah, you know what?
He fingered them.
Makes everything better, including genocide. What were you saying, Cindy?
I said he fingered them.
Yes, he fingered the Saiyans into genocide. Golden Apple member for 2 months. Shout out. Found a dead bug in my PC's heatsink last night and had to disassemble the entire system head to toe. Yeah, that sounds awful. Well, thanks for the membership for a couple months, bud.
Oh my god.
A state of some kind, at least. Now, most of you know what genocide is, and for those of you who came to learn, good on you. Do note, though, that there are people here that did not come to learn and instead showed up to embarrass themselves publicly in the comments again. So if I sound a little condescending, it's because I'm directing a lot of this crucial information at them, mostly because they're purposefully ignorant, and I ain't got no tolerance for that. So a genocide.
There we go.
He has to make a bad video.
For it.
He's got no tolerance, so he has to make a bad video.
Yeah, right. Again, this is the pseudo-intellectualism shining through in full force. It's like, oh, people came here to be ignorant. What makes them ignorant? Well, they disagree with me politically, and that makes them ignorant because I'm almighty God Emperor, know everything about morality and history, and then the reason humans fight wars and how resource management works, and the list can go on and on and on. Basically, is the ultimate sign of arrogance.
At base level is the effort to remove an undesired population. This can be done through an impressive array of techniques tried over the centuries: starvation, disease, sterilization, mass deportation.
Oh my fucking god, does not equate to genocide, you dumb son of a bitch.
Yeah, mass deportation is not a genocide, and any way, shape, or form, because assuming that you are allowed, these individuals are allowed to, that you're deporting them from, still leave and create their own ethnic or racial or political group or whatever elsewhere, they were not genocided, like by definition of the term. By the way,
location,
sterilization. But if I had to pick a favorite method from all the ones he listed, it's probably sterilization.
And of course, your classic brutal eradication through mass execution. Some nations even went as far as to breed away undesirables through forced pregnancies on said undesirable populations in order to foment national sympathy and loyalty from the coming mixed race next generation. Now,
I would like to remind all y'all that this is an anime channel that we are reacting to right now, or at least so they claim that they are an anime channel.
No, they are most definitely not. They have a message to push. Oh my fucking god. Tourists, get out.
If this sounds like basically the most horrible thing humans can do to other humans, congratulations, you're normal. It's bad, really bad. So naturally, when a nation commits the act of genocide, they generally don't.
See, I disagree with this. Say, oh, it's bad, really bad. No, the world is not black and white. Let's say you got an entire populace, that he was referring to as undesirables. What's a reason they could be undesirable? Maybe they are undesirable because they are trying to murder anyone and everyone that disagrees with them on ideological or religious level. So genociding those people might be the only way you can keep yourself and your nation and your family and everybody within your state safe. Now, does it suck because that's a whole lot of dead motherfuckers? Sure, but it takes two to tango.
It really does. Oh my
don't like to admit it, because then people will like them less. And when a nation has committed genocide in the past to further their own nationalistic goals and identity, they generally like to cover it up. because it's bad and not cool, you see. Far from fair and unbiased and based. Genocide is so bad that when it happens, there are international political obligations for countries to condemn and even in some cases intervene to end them. This is why, in many cases, blatant acts of genocide are denied by third-party governments. This is done in the courts, where despite the legal definition of genocide being pretty clear, the law is debated forever so said governments can simply ignore them. Or, and this is the fun part, continue supporting them. There is a light novel series turned anime called 86, which shows this issue in depth, where the definitely not racist and in fact least racist and most cool country called the Republic sends all of its non-pure-blooded citizens to die in a
called the Republic. Let's take a look at this anime real quick. Let's Google who was the Republic in the anime 86 based on, because I would guess Germany. Draws inspiration from various real entities, notably France, the American South, and Nazi Germany. So yeah, that's where they drew their inspiration from, just according to a quick cursory Google search. Also, they mix Holy Roman Empire themes in there as well.
War, but it's cool because they're actually fair, unbiased, and based. Just don't think about it. However, for us normal ethical humans with a moral compass, genocide is simple. If it looks like genocide and quacks like a genocide, you can be pretty confident it's a fucking
like
genocide.
His own argument is based?
Yes, basically that's exactly what he's saying. He's saying that anybody that disagrees with genocide and acknowledges that genocide is not cool is based.
Do they treat everybody like they're like a small, unthinking child?
Yeah, that's the way. So the sort of debate tactics and the propaganda tactics and the conversational tactics are to make their opposition or the people they are trying to teach feel fucking stupid if you disagree with them, which, mind you, is a good tactic. It's one that works a lot. It's what I used to do when I did sales for a living. It's like my sales tactic, and mind you, I was one of the top salesmen in the country for the company of CenturyLink, was I will make you feel so fucking stupid for not buying what I have to buy. So if you want to be smart, you buy what I'm selling you. And it works. So needless to say, the tactic he's using here is a good tactic for fucking morons.
Oh, gosh.
You have the correct information about what it is. So if you trust your government, which has an agenda, or military, which has an agenda, more than the people with boots on the ground risking their lives in some cases to report on what they're actually witnessing, well, first of all,
what does this have to do with anime?
Idiot. But second, you might have misinformation.
Don't worry, we still got 20 minutes after the video. I'm sure he'll get there eventually.
And for instance, you might think there's a genocide in Nigeria and not one in Gaza, and you would be very wrong and dumb. The exact opposite is true, but the fabrication I gave is the actual stance of the current American administration because it fits their agenda. So if you're grasping all of this, what I'm telling you is...
Yeah, except for it's not the case. So there's not a genocide going on in Gaza, at least not on paper. There's not. Now, you could argue whether or not what's being reported on paper is real. And you know what? Fair enough. There's a fair argument to have there. But it's not a genocide going on in Gaza because on paper, they're only going after the terrorist cell that is effectively running the pseudo nation state as opposed to just all Palestinian people.
Well, you know, if he actually had boots on the ground in Gaza, he'd see that for himself.
Well, I'm pretty sure the only boots he gets are like $30 fucking pleather boots at Hot Topic
that his boyfriend's boyfriend wears to step on him. Oh my gosh.
That there is printed video and audio proof that America is denying the systematic eradication of the Palestinian people via the Israeli government they support with our tax dollars while fabricating the systematic eradication of white Christians in Nigeria. That's kind of fucked up, but unfortunately it's nothing new.
Yeah, except for now, I got a couple buddies from South Africa. And I get it, Nigeria is not South Africa. The point is, being in South Africa, they were very aware of just, the political spectrum and political goings-ons of the African, continent, because a lot of it's very intertwined. And yeah, Andy from Whole My DualShock and that darn Kitty, from her own channel, that darn Kitty, very much acknowledge, yeah, there's some fucking white genocides going on in Africa. Now, how much of it should be our business? Frankly, none of it. I'm a bit of an isolationist in that regard. But the point is, it is happening. But yeah, exactly, America only. But it's not politically expedient to acknowledge that there's white genocides going on because, well, that will crumble their entire narrative that all these downtrodden minorities have no power and that white people control the entire fucking world.
But what does this have to do with Japan and anime, you might be asking? Well,
Nothing.
I'm glad you asked. I have a story for you. A true story. Once upon a time, there was a land in which people lived, not united as a monolith, but nonetheless, the land was theirs and was where they had existed for as long as history was recorded. One day, foreigners arrived on the shores of the people's land. They spoke another language and had strange customs. But preferring peace, the people tentatively worked with the foreigners in coexistence.
Wow, you didn't watch Shonen at all, did you?
I would like to tell you that. So let's roll back something he said that was very telling about how retarded he is.
And was where they had existed, not united as a monolith, but nonetheless,
There it is.
the land was there.
Not united as a monolith. Correct. All these different tribes and whatnot, regardless of where you were in the world. Obviously, we'll use North America as an example because we're in North America, we're in the United States. All the different warring factions of Native American tribes, Indian tribes, if you will. I can say that. I was raised on the Cherokee Nation. Yeah, guess what? They didn't live in harmony with each other. They didn't coexist with each other in harmony in the vast majority of cases. Why the fuck would they coexist with the new white man in, harmony or anything to that effect? Now, were there isolated instances where, like, yes, tribes would try and get along with the newcomers? Yeah, obviously, because every fucking tribe was different. So when you say not as a monolith, you can't then also say they collectively agreed to do something as a monolith, which he literally just does a few moments later.
And was where they had existed for as long as history was recorded. One day, foreigners arrived on the shores of the people's land. They spoke another language and had strange customs. But preferring peace, the people tentatively worked with the foreigners in...
There we go. Preferring peace, the people, i.e. the indigenous people that were there first, that he just said weren't a monolith. So they weren't a monolith, and how they come together all collectively with this same idea of we prefer peace. Let's tentatively work with them.
Seriously, if you just watched the season of Shonen that exists, that shows that no, they weren't really that peaceful. They didn't like foreigners coming to their island. I mean, oh my god.
We still have tribes nowadays, like in the Amazon and shit, where people aren't allowed to go because they will murder you on fucking sight.
Oh yeah. Like that one guy who had to go and prove that, Jesus was with him. He had all these warning shots and he somehow got murked because Jesus was with him. They're fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Coexistence. The foreigners had interesting technology and brought new techniques to the people, and the people knew the land. It was a mutually beneficial deal. However, the foreigners had other ideas. You see, the people had an endless supply of resources the foreigners could use. The people preferred to live in harmony with their land, never taking more than they needed. They loved their land, worshipped it and its creatures for keeping them alive with its boundaries.
Does he really think this Disney Channel version of the Native Americans was fucking real?
Yes.
Like he's saying all this with like a staunch sincerity that he actually believes that oh my god, this is...
Or he's saying it with such a staunch sincerity that he wants you to believe it, not necessarily that he believes it.
Oh, I'm willing to bet he's dumb enough that he believes it.
Bleeding fucking hearts.
And its beauty. But the foreigners didn't care about this land. It was raw, untouched, and ripe for exploitation. The worship the people had for it was heretical to the foreigners and their foreign gods. I thought he was talking
about the Japanese
people's
lands.
lifestyle.
To be fair, he hasn't specified what lands he was referring to, because if you go back in history, you can effectively find an example of this throughout all of history. I'm using Native American because, again, we're in fucking America, so that's the most analogous thing you can make to the very vague descriptors that he's putting out there. And yes, these clips are from Princess Mononoke.
Was considered base and barbaric, their language ugly, their customs disgusting, and their peaceful ways foolish and naive. They were wide open. So the foreigner...
By the way, they were foolish and naive. How do we know they were foolish and naive? Well, they didn't come up with things like, mechanical engineering, but the Europeans did. So by comparison, yeah, when you've been existing on this plot of land for thousands upon thousands of years, as the Native Americans have, and they couldn't come up with, I don't want to say relatively simple because the shit's actually quite advanced. But the point is, when they couldn't come up with modern day engineering techniques and crop growing techniques, and they couldn't use their crazy alchemy to create these magic things that shoot projectiles called guns. Like, yeah, Yeah, they were behind 100%. And that's what happens when you get left in the dust, when you don't have these sort of engineering techniques, when you don't try and further your knowledge and understanding of the way the world works and of science, is that other people can come along and fucking conquer your ass. Cryptic manga for a 2-banger. Don't know who is stupider, him or Ellen Historian. I don't know that I've ever watched Ellen Historian, but feel free to drop some videos of his in the react request section of the Discord, and I'm sure I can make a determination as to who's more fucking retarded.
Pushed farther into the people's land. They invited more foreigners from where they came from. They violated treaties, exploited natural resources, hunted the native animals to near extinction. So, backed into a corner, the people had no option other than to fight. Their food was in short supply, their space was shrinking, their homes were being destroyed. So they did, and they were punished. Their villages were raided, their women and babies were murdered. These acts were considered justified by the foreigners because they saw the people as animals, not.
Yeah, that's what conquering looks like. And guess what? Conquering has been around throughout the entirety of human existence. The fact that we live in a time now with relatively little conquering, it still exists, but relatively little conquering by comparison, is an anomaly for the human race.
I'm fairly certain that he is now officially a trans woman because, like a woman, it is taking him fucking forever to get to the fucking point.
Yeah, women traditionally aren't very good storytellers, you're right.
As other humans. And eventually, the people lost completely. They were overrun. Everything they knew was desecrated. Those who didn't perish in systematic eradication were sequestered to the worst parts of the land that was once open and free and theirs. Land that was once a patchwork of the people's different tribes, nations, and cultures. They were homogenized into a new nation run by the foreigners, and the people were left to quietly disappear. Wow, good story. Pop quiz. Which country did the foreigners make? Was it the United States, Japan, Israel? Correct. Kind of seems like this happened.
Guess what? Yeah, and you can also take that back to every single other nation in the human history.
Yep.
Again, like this dude is so fixated on this neo-Marxist modernity mentality. He is so deep in his own ass and his own echo chamber that he has no concept of how human history actually worked.
None of them do.
Yeah. Krovak's correct. Failed history across the board. Or sorry, across the borders, because I know he believes in open borders.
A lot. Oh, and the people, that could be Native American tribes, the Palestinians, or the Ainu. Doesn't matter. Same story. Happy holidays, by the way. Golden Kamuy is an anime and manga literally about Japan doing.
I know he'd like it.
Yeah, he would like it. Absolutely. Did the smug little happy holidays rub you the wrong way? It's like, oh, it's supposed to be an insult. Happy holidays. Like, I mean, yeah, you're free to say that. You're also free to be retarded. After this video,
it's Merry Christmas. Get it right.
How many views does this have? Let's see. 24,000 views, 300,000 subs. I would like to compare that to some of his other stuff. I'm curious. By the way, let's go ahead and drop it. There we go. So yeah, his genocide video, 24,000 views. Let's see what some of the others do.
18K, 19K.
All right. 18K. This is about the AI dub stuff. We need to talk about everything. 19K. Keep Politics Up Animated, 55K. Millennium Actress did 11K. All right, so this actually did well, it seems like, for his channel. This channel used to be way bigger. I wonder if ever since he's come out with his fucking Marxist propaganda bullshit, the channel's fallen off. So yeah, Apothecary Diet is 63K. Let's go to some of their older stuff and see if the numbers change.
1.1 million.
Yeah, Doro Hetero, 1.1 million. Dororo, 133K. Dead Leaves, 53K. Rama 1/2, 280K. The Elder Star Wars the Elder Star Wars Mastery, 71K. Mononoke, by the way, Mononoke is a fucking fantastic anime. 129K. Blood Sea. Point is, yeah, you can see other, like, this one didn't do well. This is not anime. It's Karoshi. Didn't do very well. 26K. But by and large, it seems like the channel really fell off from what it was doing years ago, back when he was, so far as I can tell, not trying to integrate political bullshit into said channel. Let's see. We got a nice bit of capitalism here. The Mervoth with a 5-banger. Pop quiz. Every nation in history does this. Lol. Some people who believe Africa equals Wakanda, if not for slavery. Yeah, there are people who believe that if not for slavery, Africa would be Wakanda now. You're entirely correct. Speaking of Africa,
I know now that it could never work between us. Not because you're a rabbit, but because you're black.
I'm so good at these segues.
That exact story to the Ainu, stealing land, rewriting their history, packaging their culture as a novelty while quietly trying to erase it.
Hey! What business does a mangy Ainu brat have hanging around in front of my shop?
Nausicaa and Princess Mononoke, both by Ghibli, both run that same story with different coats of paint. Some industrial jackass rolls in, calls the locals primitive, and suddenly the whole forest, gods, and people are acceptable collateral damage. It's this
Right. And you want to know what makes these fiction and the real world? In the fiction, these noble savage type fucking win instead of getting steamrolled by modern technology.
I never even thought of that. Oh my gosh.
Kyle Beaver at 2banger says, here's a 2 for the bad Trans Lives Matter video. Oh, yes, I am going to be making that a clip on the channel. But in the meantime... Thanks for the 2banger, bud.
same template, different finish. Feels bad. Should feel bad. That's the lesson. It's bad. Always. Seems like we shouldn't let that happen then. Now, assuming you aren't living in some kind of Christian fundamentalist cult.
As we continue through this video, realize that just about every other smaller conspiracy theory that I lay out here pretty much comes down to the idea of the grand conspiracy that everything in the world is ultimately dominated and controlled by demon-possessed satanic communists.
You probably knew this, but you didn't always, did you? You were probably told about how well we got along with the native people and how one day we just made America. Or maybe the subject was mostly ignored. It really depends, seeing as there's no federal curriculum mandate to learn anything about this history.
Nor should there be. Have you noticed how much our education rates have dropped ever since the inception of the Department of Education? Yeah, turns out when the government comes in and enforces sorts of regulations and mandates when it comes to education, shit gets bad real fucking fast. But of course, this commie piece of shit would advocate for that. We got the Murvather, a 5banger, to answer about I assume Ellen is light novel historian. Dude who barely reads light novels, well, that answers that, though proclaims himself as very Taurus-like, supports Hassan and is obsessed with Chibi. That tells me everything I need to know about the guy. For example...
Shut up, bitch!
Shout out. Thank you so much, Murvath.
Is called propaganda. Information designed by the state to make you feel good about how based and moral your country is. So you don't, I don't know, get really pissed off about how fucked up it actually is. Oh, and the latter is denial by omission.
And then make videos about it and not get to the point.
Yeah, there's that as well. Yeah, mind you, we are halfway through the video at this point, and the question still becomes, dude, what the fuck are you on? Like,
he's using this as a therapy outlet.
No, a therapy outlet would be just him like trying to get his feelings out there and whatnot. This is worse because he's trying to get other people to agree with him and agree with his points and think, oh, we're all bad. We're all genociders. We need to repent. Sins of the Father, this, that, and the other. And the propaganda aspect is far worse than the therapy aspect, in my opinion.
Fair enough. Oh my gosh.
And yeah, Dempsey does have a point. He's making his point. He hates America. Most commies do. I would say all commies do. They're on monolith, a comolith, if you will.
But let's not pretend this only happened in 3 places. Any country that had any colonial ambitions did this at one point or another, or still is. Israel. Look at Portugal's history in Rwanda and Southern Africa, or, well, any other nation that's tried to take African territory ever. My point is, if you hear this...
What about all the various African city-states and little nations like that took other African territories and nations? Like, notice how, let's go back to the list of flags and whatnot when he had them up there. What do you notice about all these flags?
I have no idea. What is it you're looking at?
They're predominantly white people countries.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah. According to him, the only people that commit genocide are white people. That's what he's visually communicating here. It's subliminal.
Yeah. But the wars in Gaza that they're talking about aren't white people on white people. It's sand people against sand people.
It is sand people against sand people. However, people often describe that some of these Dune Coons are white adjacent if they're Jewish. So
Oh my gosh.
Israel. Look at Portugal's history in Rwanda and Southern Africa, or, well, any other nation that's tried to take African territory ever. My point is, if you hear this and don't feel disgust, there's probably something deeply wrong.
And why would people try and take African territory? Because Africa got a lot of really rich resources that can be used. Unfortunately, a lot of Africa is still rarely underdeveloped, and they're still running around with like huts and fucking grass skirts and shit because they don't understand science and how to turn that shit into modern technology and how to actually use those resources to an adequate degree. Now, you could say, well, it's because of colonialism. It's because people can come in and fucking with their land. No, because they didn't do this shit before. When we were developing mechanical engineering, they weren't. And it was before we ever even came into contact with them. So get the fuck off and learn some goddamn history. Butterframe didn't go over a two-banger. Does he not know how Islam spread? I'm going to take a wild guess. He knows, and he's just very conveniently omitting it.
There's nothing more cool than being hugged by someone you like. But if someone tries to touch you in a place or in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable, you touch them back.
The same way the Christians touched back against the Islamists during the Crusades. Base Crusades. Sorry, what were you saying, Zenny?
This guy doesn't know anything. He's just spouting his message. That's it.
Yeah, everything he knows is what he read in the Cliff Notes version of every Karl Marx book that was recommended to him by some fucking hot goth mommy that he so desperately wanted to sleep with.
You. You see, there's another part of this story that's the most difficult because it's your part. None of what happened in the past is your fault. Do you benefit from it now? Most likely, but that's also not your fault. Yeah. However, if you're an adult in a democracy, correcting these things has now become your responsibility. And that's a heavy burden.
Get the fuck out of here. First of all, no, it is not our job to correct shit. It is our job to look out for our own best interests. Also, we don't live in a democracy. We live in a constitutional republic. But again, this guy's retarded and he probably doesn't understand the difference.
No, he doesn't. Oh my gosh. Just like it's the same reason why they can't see that communism is bad. Oh my god. No.
Yeah, no. I mean, this dude would believe that communism is the answer to righting all of those historical wrongs, which, by the way, we're not inherently historical wrongs. Even if they were, it's not our responsibility to fucking do. Past is the past.
Unfair, but less unfair than being genocided. I think we can agree on that. But remember, it's not all your responsibility. You can't.
The Mervov of the two-banger, Kami. I am a political. Okay, how is dry? Actually, it's funny you say this. I reacted to a video. This has been a while ago. This has been several months, if not a year ago or whatnot, where, I think it may have been actually just a few months ago. It may have been, I think it was this guy's other video, where he tried to make the argument that Dragon Ball was political because of the entire Frieza genocide in the Sand race, then Goku getting revenge, and then how the Frieza's army operates was all political allegory.
I want to know how is my dress up darling political?
How is Pokemon political?
I just can't. These people are so fucking stupid.
Cryptic Manga for a 5-banger. Oh, so this is one of those channels. You mud people have feelings too. Attack on Titan's the best anime. Buggy sucks. You know what?
Shut up, bitch.
I know we already used it, but I had to use it again. Also,
you and I are enemies now.
There we go.
Can't do everything. Not even close. But you can't do.
Cryptic says right about Attack on Titan being like the best anime, as this guy is right about anime in general.
Yes, if by right you mean inherently wrong, like they are on equal levels of absurd. Correct.
Yes.
Black Lagoon actually is quite political, but it's not political in the way that we look at like left-right politics in America. Black Lagoon is political in more of a criminal underworld sort of way, because there are still politics of the criminal underworld. So, I mean, you can call Black Lagoon political, but it's more like it just uses the established real-world rules of the politics of a criminal underworld, and takes those existing rules and uses it as the basis for its character, for its story, for its narrative, the whole nine.
Something. Whatever it is, it's something. We all have limits, our own burdens, max caps that can't be changed. For some, simply not denying the past or the present and staying educated is the best they can do, and that's fine. It takes a nation to commit genocide, right? It takes a nation to correct the past and safeguard the future too. And for some of us, the revelation that we exist on stolen land taken by force, that our economy was built on the backs of slaves, that our women were forced into subjugation, that genocidal nation states are funded in our name with our tax dollars, and we've committed countless atrocities on immigrants, minorities, and mentally ill, and basically every other vulnerable group, puts a piss in our veins that can't be diluted without justice. So we pick a lane and do what we can. For me, right now, it's this, what you're watching. But for some,
yeah, for me, the way that I try and give justice to the historical atrocities is by reviewing anime and trying to propagandize people that anime will actually eventually lead us to a communist utopia.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But still, why is every single one of his videos now? I see why he's losing views, right? Because every single video, it looks like he's going to have an interesting topic. Whether or not it's correct is irrelevant. It just looks like it'll be interesting. And then it's not. It's the same fucking video as the last one, where he's preaching the same fucking message, and it's stupid. All of it is stupid. It's just, oh my gosh.
No, I would say this one's a little bit different. This one's specifically about genocide. I suppose the other one was just politics in general. That's different, right?
Like,
yeah. I was being sarcastic if you couldn't tell. Yeah, for a commie, he has a lot of stuff in his background. It looks expensive. Interesting.
Look at that guitar.
There's several of them. He's got that one.
All those
He's got
stack of
all
NES games.
it's anime. We got here. See, my videos aren't for everybody. I like to use big words, but what everybody can enjoy is stories. They're compelling.
Yes, liking to use big words is actually what is there's a term for that. People who use big words pretentious, yeah. But there's a derogatory term as well beyond pretentious. Sesquipedalian. So yeah, sesquipedalian. Is the use can be used to describe someone or something that overuses big words, like a philosophy professor or a chemistry textbook. Someone gives a sesquipedalian speech, people often assume it was smart, even if they don't really know what it was about because they can't understand the words. That is what's going on here. So yeah, he likes to use big words, and he does it in a way to sound more intelligent than he actually is. Faux intellectual or pseudo intellectual, overcompensating. Yeah, the word I was specifically looking for was sesquipedalian.
I've never heard of sesquipedalian.
Oh, I had to. Oh, sorry. What was that, Cindy?
I've never heard of sesquipedalian.
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 Yeah, it's spelled like this: Sesquipedalian. Sesquipedalian. And the reason people use these big words and whatnot is, again, not only does it make them sound smarter, but also it makes it to where if people are unfamiliar with the terms you're using, they don't even know how to argue against you. So they're going to default to you being right, or they're just going to concede the argument because they can't understand the argument you're making. Even if the argument you're making is an incredibly retarded argument, such as what this dude's doing in this video. The smartest type of folk are the ones that use the least amount of words or the smallest words to convey the grandest message.
Based, yeah.
The story I told you earlier. Notice how you could have slotted like an endless amount of nations into either side of that conflict? Interesting. It's almost like when you're talking about something universal, it can be understood universally. Like there's an underlying human experience that unites the majority of people. It's called empathy. It's a good thing. That pain in your gut you feel when you see.
Yeah. Empathy is, when appropriately used, a good thing. However, that's why we're talking so much nowadays about suicidal empathy or weaponized empathy, because people take that good thing and abuse the fuck out of it. You know how there's that old phrase, all things in moderation, including moderation itself? Empathy is also one of those things. You should only be empathetic in fucking moderation.
Not this guy. He's going to make it in every fucking video, apparently.
Hey, speaking of moderation, mods, shout out and give a big thank you to the Angry Badger. He's got Badger Rage. Shout out, Badger. Appreciate you, homie. It means the absolute wild to me. Yeah, see the Angry Badger Raid coming in. You guys have come in at quite a fun time in the stream.
A screaming mother and child bloodied up in a collapsed building is good. It's your.
What does this have to do with anime?
Is wrong
oh my
and bad.
gosh.
And
don't worry, there's 15-ish minutes of the video left. I'm sure he'll get there eventually.
And he has said, my point is, at least 6 times.
Yeah. Again, shout out. Thank you for the raid, crew.
Acknowledgement that you wouldn't do that to another person. ever. See, some of us take it a step further and realize that currently our tax money is funding continual breakages in the ceasefire in Gaza, resulting in the deaths of innocent people every day, as well as strikes in Lebanon.
The ceasefire that Gaza broke? Just saying.
Which are killing innocent people, and our money's also going to ICE, an American state Gestapo force rounding up innocent people, separating them from their children and families, and putting them into concentration camps on our land in our country, and it pisses us off real bad. It also pisses me off when
and using our system against us. Yes, ICE is great
for us, but yeah, against them.
Oh my gosh, this
but
guy's
yeah. ICE is based. ICE is awesome. Keep kicking these fucking scumbags out who shouldn't be here in the first place. By the way, they're not concentration camps. Again, that's a very weaponized word because this is a propaganda video that he's using to weaponize, to weaponize young impressionable weebs to his point of view. The Mervot for a two-banger. I don't see his peep sympathy on Venezuelans. Yeah, real interesting how that happens. Dictator bad, orange man bad. Until we ask the actual dictator and say, well, hold on. Maybe we should free the guy. I mean, what are you doing here? I don't know. I've been told for the last 10 fucking years you guys are anti-dictator.
And how come we're not listening to the Venezuelan people who are celebrating?
Who are celebrating that this is going down.
The news paints all of these other nations like they're psychotic, evil, third world organizations when they're just doing the same things we do. And I imagine when young Japanese kids look a little further into their own history, they feel the same way. Japan has a long history, and for hundreds of years of that history, the nation was ruled by military dictators and functioned under a rigid class system where the majority, the peasants, were at the bottom, working to enrich the top. It's like a scheme in the shape of a pyramid. Wow. Kind of like the US now that I think of it.
Kind of like all nations in the history ever that any sort of economic growth. You really gonna sit here and try and tell me that ancient Egypt also didn't have a very similar system? Crowback to the two-banger. Nominate this guy for Unit 731 to see a real camp. Dude, straight the fuck up.
About it. But meanwhile,
I was considering doing Unit 731 as a Tinfoil Haters episode, but there's no real conspiracy there. It's just horror.
These guys had to eat a diet of mostly millet, which is gross. Look it up. There were a lot of wars during that time in which the peasants suffered immensely. Eventually there was peace, but they were still under the rule of said military dictators. This only ended when America, yes, America, showed up and forced Japan to open its borders when they were not ready.
Japan was not innocent in the war. Do not even start.
No. That's not what he's saying. He's saying that Japan were. He's saying that Japan were evil.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I thought because he's making it look like the U.S. is constantly picking on Japan, like back in the day.
He was saying that Japan were the bad guy in that instance. Why isn't he talking about China? Why isn't he talking about China, North Korea, or communist countries to do as he described about peasants holding up the wealthy? Because those are communist countries, and to him, that is the ideal existence.
To do so by scaring the piss out of them with big ships and guns they'd never seen before, and then humiliating them on top of it. So,
he's wrong. So the during the Meiji era, I think it was even earlier than that. In about the 1600s, the 1650s, if I recall, you had the English and the Spanish show up with their big ships and big guns, and it's what forced Japan out of isolationism. So yeah, Japan had seen that shit before. They were aware of it. In fact, they used a lot of those same tools and weaponry and whatnot because they received it from if not the Spanish, maybe the Portuguese. Either way, and certainly the English. That's why you had a rise in the in learning the English language in the 1600s in Japan because the English were there. The Portuguese as well. So yeah, Dempsey corrected me or agreed with me. It was Portuguese. It was the Dutch. Maybe the Dutch did as well. So the point is, his whole idea that like America showed up and did this is rewriting the prior 200 years before America showed up for this shit.
The Japanese killed a lot of Christians, which is a genocide, and then they killed even more of each other, which was a civil war, and proceeded to become a military and economic powerhouse. What do they do with this power? Invaded Korea, and then Manchuria, a northern province of China. They helped the Allies in World War I for some clout, but found only more humiliation and racism when they weren't treated like people. Meanwhile, at home, they couldn't keep their officials from being assassinated, and eventually, the military kind of just took over completely, using their emperor as a useful idiot. So, what did this new modern superpower military do?
Like you useful idiot?
Yeah, he's absolutely this guy's useful idiot. But yeah, so what he's describing is, and again, we've talked about it recently. We talked about it on Friday Night with Andy. Force doctrine. You mean the rules and the laws only actually apply if the enforcement mechanism, if the enforcement arm is willing to employ those rules and those laws, and the moment they decide, we've changed our minds, you ain't got no fucking say in it. Yeah, that's the way the real world works. Might not make right, but it certainly does make, and there's no escaping that.
Genocide, and also became best friends with Hitler, who was also doing a genocide, little thing called the Holocaust. You may have heard of it, but you may not have heard of the Japanese genocide committed on the Chinese. It was bad.
I mean, it wasn't that bad. Everyone talks about the rape of Nanking, and no one ever asked what Nanking was wearing. Like, it actually was bad, by the way. It was. The Japanese fucking massacred the Chinese. Kind of fucking hilarious. St. Hugo for a two-banger. The real question is, trees. Are they real? Well, if you are not in the forest and you're not consciously observing a tree, is it even there? Schrodinger's chlorophyll.
Bad, like Holocaust bad, or worse. The estimates of Chinese victims under the Japanese range from 3 to 10 million citizens lined up, shot, cut up with swords, lit on fire, dumped into mass graves, and those were the lucky ones. Yeah,
he's not even bringing up like the cool ones, like when the Japanese would take little newborn babies and they'd fling them up in the air and try and catch them on the ends of their bayonets.
What?
Oh, you didn't know about that?
No.
Oh, I'm going to take a guess that you really didn't know about Unit 731 then, which y'all have been talking about in the chat and stuff.
No.
Oh, dude, they would like the Japanese would catch fucking like Chinese broads, impregnate them or catch them already pregnant, and then like introduce STDs in their body to see how it would affect the fetus. They'd cut off motherfuckers' arms and try sewing on other people's arms to see if they could get them to like, mix and stuff. Yeah, the Japanese, they were fucking monsters. Okay, I'm super happy that we bombed the ever-loving shit out of them and got like Dragon Ball and Pokemon shit. But if you look at like World War II and pre-World War II Japan, they were monsters. We tamed a beast.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
No wonder Berserk is so fucked up.
Oh, it's so much. It makes Berserk look like a fucking episode of Barney.
Lucky ones went to Unit 737 or 731, a secret research facility for human experimentation. Imagine the worst thing imaginable, then multiply it by 5. Look it up. All of this doesn't even take into consideration what they did to the Koreans or the Filipinos, but just like America, their students aren't explicitly taught this info, thanks to an American practice of privatization. Basically, instead of standardized government textbooks agreed on by the people and paid for with taxes, companies were allowed to make deals with the schools to purchase their textbooks. So many Japanese history books gloss over the dirty stuff because it looks really bad and might make kids ask uncomfortable questions. So just like in America, you have to dig a little to find out the truth. And just like Americans...
Yeah, again, as it should be. Again, like, this whole idea that, all governments should just give you all the knowledge of all your history and whatnot. Yeah, that's still going to be propaganda. Like, it's still going to be weaponized to create good little foot soldiers, stuff like that. You should be breeding a population of individuals who are just intellectually curious and willing to do the research themselves. Again, how much of this guy's information did he pull off of Google when writing the script or whatnot? When Google is a very biased, very propaganda-oriented organization that, of course, is going to give you the information that, is more likely to cater to your leftist communist ideology.
Yeah. He said that Japan does not teach about Unit 731, correct, and they do.
Yeah, I don't know if they do or not. I'm honestly not sure. According, what does Google say, since you're looking up?
It says the Japanese schools do teach about World War II, and most common textbooks since the mid-1990s have made references to atrocities like the Nanjing Massacre and Unit 731.
There we go. Bro, this is diabolical. For the script, he used Chat CCP.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, that's amazing. That might be my favorite comment of the night so far.
The Japanese probably get upset. They probably feel like they were lied to or directly and purposefully manipulated. So some of them let it out. Tell me why a young farm girl from Hokkaido, Japan's northernmost territory, would grow up to write a world-renowned comic book that story is intrinsically linked to an act of genocide. Seems random, but Hiromu...
No, he's referring to the gal that, I assume the gal that wrote Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, okay.
Arakawa sensei educated herself. Like me, she lived on a land that was stolen from the largely peaceful indigenous people, the Ainu, through violence, subjugation, and hate. When she found out, she knew it was bad, so she used that bad feeling she had to write a story where it's explicitly shown how terrible genocide is and how cynically it comes about. But she didn't just use her local tribes as inspiration. She looked around the world, educated herself, and landed on a Middle Eastern reference, one brought about by America's actions in Afghanistan.
Yeah, and by the way, anyone that has read or seen any version of FMA, whether it be the original or Brotherhood, would know that that is not the central plot. That is a subplot, and the central plot is the philosophical discussion of what equates to a human soul. So again, no one's saying that you can't use real life history to inspire your fictional stories, but they are just that, fictional fucking stories.
Well, they would know that if they were able to create anything on their own. Fucking retards. Oh my gosh. They're just going to have me grumbling this whole thing.
It's A-okay because we still got 10 minutes.
Afghanistan and the Middle East at large. I used her manga Full Metal Alchemist, may have heard of it, in the last video, which hurt some people's fifis, whether it was the Nazi sympathizers who denied the genocide in Palestine.
The show. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Go on. I thought you were finished. My bad.
If you would stop using these amazing shows to further your agenda and you actually understood what it was you were talking about, people's fifis would not be hurt. It's not that they're hurt. They're pissed off the misrepresentation.
Yeah, no, you are exactly correct. Again, nobody was going to be reading Full Metal Alchemist and like be totally cool with genocide, then read Full Metal Alchemist and be like, oh, I guess I've been wrong. Like, again, there was no attempt to send a message. It's an attempt to tell a story. Now, within that story, you can have these very baseline messages and whatnot that, these universal messages that people can agree on. And yeah, anybody, the vast majority of folks will agree that, at least as a concept, by and large, genocide not necessarily always a good thing or whatnot. However, that is not the point of FMA, nor is it even the main plot point. Again, if you want to get into the nitty-gritty of FMA, you're going to be dealing a whole lot more with philosophy than you're going to be dealing with the actual ramifications of war and genocide. Yeah, those themes are there and those can be discussed, and again, you could have an interesting conversation out of it. But what's it going to come down to, aside from these people were genocided, the people that did the genociding were the bad guys, which Edward Eller's whole journey, even from the beginning, he doesn't like the state. He doesn't like the military that he's a part of, but he's using them as a means to an end to try and get a Philosopher's Stone. So even then, it's not like he's got this whole big revelation about oh, these are bad guys or whatnot. He already doesn't like them. Now he finds out they're worse than he even thought, but it doesn't really change his goal of trying to restore Al's body and his arm and leg.
It's just part of it, but go ahead.
Yeah, we have English Badger here sending 5 gifted Words of Paradise memberships. Shout out, you absolute fucking legend. Thank you so much. You know what? This one's for you.
I don't think humans were meant to see sissy hypno inflation compilations.
But hey, by the way, did you know that I suck dick as a man? I lick the ass of other men. But really quick, I lick the balls of a man.
Yeah, you're close to the quote, Dempsey. Losers are always talking about their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen. Yeah, exactly. The point is, him using FMA here for this concept of America, Japan, genocide. This whole video is superfluous. There's no need to do it because again, it's very basic. It's rudimentary. We all know it. And yeah, authors all the time are inspired by real world shit to write their fictional shit. That's the point you're trying to make is a point that most fucking 6-year-olds can make out already. Runaway Vagabond, member for 1 month. This is why I support gatekeeping. Hail Leon. Hail you, sir. And yes, gatekeep the fuck out of these commie bastards. They are not humans and they don't deserve human rights.
or the fake leftist spoilers who think it's wrong to conflate a stand-in literary device with real people. Don't worry, they're all deeply stupid and part of the problem. But the point is, that was Arakawa Sensei's intention, to call attention to these crimes against humanity, make people think. It was her way of fighting. It was her lane. Many others paved that lane, and many more ride in it today and will travel.
But is that true? Hold on. But are you making that up? Let's see if we can find any source that actually says so. Was it the author's sole intent to tell a story apologizing for genocide in Full Metal Alchemist? No, it was not the author's intent to tell a story for apologizing for genocide in Full Metal Alchemist. Instead, the author Himaru Arakawa used fictional Ishval and war to explore complex real-world themes of war, accountability, atonement, the cycle of vengeance, and consequences of imperialism. Key points regarding the author's intent and the story themes. I want to get some actual quotes from her. Let's see. Let's see if we can find quotes from Arakawa about that. I'll hit that in just a sec. That's super in just a sec, guys. Let's see. All right. Whatever. Even when our eyes are closed, there's a whole world that exists outside ourselves and our dreams. Okay. I draw manga, therefore I am based. In researching this volume, I interviewed veterans who had been at the front during World War II. I read countless books, examined film footage, and listened to many detailed and intense stories firsthand. But the one comment that affected me the most came from the former soldier who lowered his gaze at the tabletop and said, "I never watch war movies." Damn, that's brutal. It's a cool and random world, but the chaos is also beautiful. Men should be buff. Women should be see, now it's based. Men should be buff. Women should be boom. I like that. There's such a thing as a painless lesson. They just don't exist. Sacrifices are necessary. You can't gain anything without losing something first, although you can also endure the pain to walk away from it. You'll find that you now have a heart strong enough to overcome an obstacle. Yeah, heart made full metal. Enduring and forgiving are two different things. We must not forgive the cruelty of this world. It's our duty as human beings to be angry at injustice, but we can also endure it because someone must sever this chain of hatred. All right, so this so far is the closest thing I can find, and even this doesn't necessarily seem like it's related, like it's inherently relating to FMA. It's just be a personal belief.
I think to start like believing in that last line, because someone needs to sever this chain of hate. They are just making it continue. They're creating as many links as they can, and it's frankly disgusting.
Yeah, it is our duty as human beings to be angry at injustice. Now, first of all, I disagree with this sentiment, but if you hold that sentiment, that's fine. But then we have to come to the conclusion or come to an agreement on what is injustice. I, for example, consider theft that is an act that is not just, so it is an unjust act. And then if you were to if someone breaks into your home and tries to steal shit from you and you fucking shoot them, that is justice. So we had to even come to an agreement on what injustice is, because I agree everybody should be angry about theft, but not everybody is. A lesson without pain is meaningless, for you cannot gain something without sacrificing something in return. What exactly is happening is going to be earned by turning away from reality. Stand up and walk, keep moving forward. I mean, again, none of these seem like they're actually say, yeah, the point of FMA was to hammer home this fucking story. Truth is stranger than fiction, as the old saying goes. When I watch a documentary, I can't help crying and think to myself, fiction can't compete with this. When I mentioned this to a veteran manga artist friend of mine, he said that fiction brings salvation to characters and stories that would otherwise have no salvation at all. His words strengthen the conviction of my manga spirit. So basically even goes so far as basically being like, yeah, what I write is fiction. It's not the real world. 100%. And again, I'm sure she draws from real world ideas and whatnot, but all creators do in any way, shape, or form. Fool, nothing but black ink runs through my veins, based. I'm tired of this. It's just like when I think our goal is within reach, it slips right through our fingers. It happened to me time and time again. Now we finally within our grasp, the truth slaps us in the face. Let's see. Greed may not be good, but it's not so bad either. You humans think greed is for money and power, but everyone wants something they can have. I think that's probably from from FMA. Yeah, fictional characters. That's what greed says. So yeah, again, I found just from a cursory search from this website and from just again a quick cursory search on Google. Wait, where'd it go? Here it is. That would show that like that was her expressed intent. Why she made the manga? Why the anime got made in general was to draw attention to this, rather than, no, it looks like it was just inspired by this. And there's a difference between using something as a tool to push your message and just taking those sorts of inspirations. All right. Alex Darby coming in with 5 gifted Words of Paradise memberships. You absolute fucking legend. Thank you so much. And then Mervoth came in with a 2-banger. Need community notes on vids when they lie on one IP. And wouldn't that be nice? Valkyrie member for 4 months. When does a joke become a dad joke? When it leaves you and never comes back. Oh, so it's a black dad joke. Yes. Shout out Valkyrie. How you doing? Appreciate you. All righty, crew. Let's go ahead and give you guys a clip.
I'm loving the game. The game would absolutely get a pretty high score from me.
How many bananas?
A solid 8.5 incher for sure.
I didn't, what? No.
And wouldn't it be nice to live together?
All right, let's keep going. We're almost finished. 10 minutes left.
In the future. See, it doesn't matter who a genocide is being done to. The point is that it happens all too often. There's currently over 7 genocides being committed right now, and those are just the ones largely agreed on. But see, I don't do a genocide, and you don't do a genocide. Nations do a genocide.
Would you do a genocide? You sure fucking would.
Yeah, I would. 100%. I haven't decided against who yet, but I knew if it came down to it, and I would.
Meaning, for instance, that Israel is not a Jew, nor are Jews Israel. You can be Jewish, you can be Israeli. You can be Jewish Israeli, and you can be anything Jewish or anything Israeli. Israel, you see, represents no one single group. It's a state. Its actions are state actions and illegal. But still, you get my point if you still have the majority of your brain cells. You cannot simply categorize a nation as a single people or a people as a nation. It just doesn't work that way. Anime hammers this idea.
Actually, you can though, right? Like that's why nationalism is a thing. The people within that nation, they make up the nation. You don't have a nation without people. So yeah, you can do that. You might not like that, but you can.
Constantly in Code Geass, half the cast are Britannian citizens who absolutely hate what Britannia is doing. Gundam is in part built on the archetype of guy who realizes their country is the bad guy. Even in Full Metal Alchemist, most of the soldiers who care.
But ready to go with a 2-banger. This guy got educated in quality. I assume you mean Leering Center, and your autocorrect actually corrected it properly. But shout out, thank you, man.
Carried out the Ishvalan genocide are just regular guys who realize way too late that following orders means wiping a people off of the map. Being born under a flag doesn't mean you co-sign what's done in its name. If you don't pay your taxes, you go to jail. I think that kind of makes us hostages, regardless of that dark thought that popped in.
So wait, did the communists just accidentally make a case for taxation being theft and why we should not have any taxes at all? And why, because again, I agree with this idea that the state is evil. I disagree with this idea that we need to make the state better so that it's not evil anymore. Dude accidentally went full fucking, like hardcore libertarian right-winger for a sec.
You just touched on it.
My head. I am firmly American. My family has been here a long time.
Oh, then you should support
my nation does not.
He should, but he doesn't.
Reflect me. I'm considered an extremist, an enemy to the regime. Am I worth their time? No, but that's not the point. Let's take another example. And again, I want to go back to Dragon Ball Z and Frieza because it's simple. And most people have watched Dragon Ball Z and therefore should probably be able to understand this. See, Frieza did genocide, one specifically outlined in the story. He used his empirical might and authority to eradicate the Saiyan race. Why? Because he deemed them dangerous. It was a...
And by the way, not to be an apologist for Frieza here. Turned out Frieza was correct. He was right to fear the Saiyans. He was right that they would end up being dangerous. In fact, a Saiyan attempts to lead a revolution against him. Frieza quells that revolution via the genocide, but leaves a Saiyan left. Leaves a few Saiyans left, and one of those Saiyans becomes the Super Saiyan that he was all so afraid of, and that Super Saiyan then kills him. Needless to say, Frieza was justified in his fear, and frankly, if he had just done his job better, if he'd have genocided just a little bit better, he wouldn't have ended up meeting his demise at the hands of the people that he feared that were able to rise up and conquer him.
So is this a case of self-fulfilling prophecy?
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Gotcha.
Preemptive strike to wipe out the possibility of a mythical being called a Super Saiyan from appearing. Even though the Saiyans were already his subjects, his tools, the mere chance of them becoming powerful.
Yes, they were his subject and his tools, and Bardock, the father of Goku, goes out of his way to show the Saiyans are getting stronger and stronger, and like at an alarming rate. What, you tell me that we've never had, cultural revolutions where the little guy rises up and beats the big guy? Because that's happened in the past.
Hell, look at Nepal.
Scared him enough.
Yes, correct. Nepal is a very good recent example.
To entirely eradicate them. Genocide. Naruto has the Uchiha massacre, where the village literally greenlights wiping out an entire clan in their sleep because they might rebel someday.
No, not because they might rebel someday. Because they literally had plans to rebel and overthrow. It's this dude is either a tourist, which I believe he is, or he's just straight up lying to people who might not have seen it. The Uchihas were going to overthrow the Hokage. Their plan was to take control of the Hidden Leaf Village. Unless I'm misremembering, I'm pretty sure Naruto explicitly says that yes, the Uchiha were planning a coup. Naruto fans in the comments, let me know, because I'm not, I might not be remembering. Yeah, the Uchihas were planning to rebel with Madara and Obito. Yeah, I'm almost positive that it explicitly states the Uchiha were planning a coup. So it was not fucking, or even if you want to call it a genocide, it was a necessary genocide.
All right, they're probably going to rebel. Trigun has knives who wants to genocide humanity because he's decided that we're a failed inferior species. Different power systems, same core idea. Some asshole with authority or power looks at a whole group of people and decides to delete them. Generally because it's just the most simple, easy way for them to, do a thing. Kira Toriyama himself, was not a political guy. He did base Frieza off a landlord, which is...
No, he did not base Frieza off a landlord. He based Frieza off of real estate brokers. Not a landlord, real estate brokers.
Where's this dude getting his information? He's been wrong about so much.
He has been wrong about just about fucking everything. And again, even something is... all right, we could super simple Google search this. Was Frieza based on... real estate, speculators, not brokers, speculators. Yes, Dragon Ball Z's Frieza was directly inspired by ruthless real estate speculators during Japan's 1980s economic bubble. Yeah, not a landlord, especially not a specific landlord, real estate speculators.
A lot if you dive into that. But the point is that regardless of his ideologies, he was able to implement genocide in his story to great effect. The act is an existential terror, erasure, destruction, culture, bloodlines, history, simply gone forever, forgotten. One of the beautiful things about being human is that even when we die, even when our lights turn out forever, we won't necessarily be forgotten. We don't necessarily disappear, unless your entire culture and history is eradicated off the face of the planet. So I guess we could talk about the giant elephant in the room. Attack on Titan. Ugh. What a bee's nest. I don't know. It kind of deserves its own dedicated video between it being kind of fashy and, You know what? Let's not for now. Let's not. Instead, let's try to go full circle. That's always fun. As an anime fan, you probably understand that there's an anime out there for everyone, right? It's a medium that is endlessly wide. And you've probably used that understanding to try and get that one friend into anime, and it just didn't work, did it? Which frustrated you. See, this person just hates anime.
No, I never ran into this issue. I won't lie. As long as you know the person well enough, because there is an anime out there for everyone, you can, if you know the person well enough, you can find that one anime they're gonna fucking click with. Absolutely. If someone's not into all the Japanesey shit and whatnot, but they really like Westerns, show them Cowboy fucking Bebop. They're probably going to enjoy it. I know. I've done it. Someone doesn't like anime, but they work at a restaurant and they like comedy and they've never seen anime in their life. They're not interested in it. Show them Devil's a part-timer. I had an ex-girlfriend that had zero interest whatsoever in anime. I said, just do this one thing. Just watch this one with me. Let me know what you think. And guess what? She fucking loved Devil is a Part-Timer. So the point is, just got to know the person.
Season 1
Otherwise, maybe you're just bad at knowing them and don't know what they're into because you're so self-centered that you don't realize that other people have things that they enjoy.
Yeah, no, that's based. And if you can't figure it out, usually recommending Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood will do it.
Yes, strong opinions. If Badger can enjoy an anime, anyone can. Badger has been one of the most ardently anti-weeb motherfuckers I'd ever met, and even he has succumbed to acknowledging that maybe some anime is good.
Which anime did he
even though
pick?
they've never watched any.
So low leveling. You gotta start somewhere.
And you know that's annoying. But why is it annoying? Are you insulted? Probably not. Is it a logical take? No. That's why it's annoying. It's because they're ignorant, and they're being ignorant on purpose. They went into the anime that you so carefully picked out for them with a bigoted stance. They were.
To be fair, I don't know that we can say whether it's on purpose or not. Again, this dude might just be that fucking dumb.
He made the video. It's on purpose. I feel like it's on fucking.
He made the video on purpose. That doesn't mean his ignorance is intentional. Again, he could just be that dumb.
I just like to believe he's not, and he's pretending to be. Hopefully.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be worse if he was pretending and he was still, pushing this propaganda and whatnot, even if he didn't believe it? Wouldn't that actually even be worse than if he was just that dumb?
Okay, yeah, he's just that dumb.
Yeah, I try to lean towards never attribute to malice, what can be more easily attributed to stupidity. And this dude has the abundance of stupidity.
Never going to like it. They just watched it so you'd shut the fuck up and they could prove to you that they hate all anime because for whatever reason anime is beneath them or immoral or whatever they were told.
Anime and decided everybody was a fascist.
Rasputin. Sorry. Yeah, no, you're correct.
And people are like that with the Hamas attack on October 7th. Hamas did a big bad, but that's all they know. Therefore, no matter what, anything Israel does from that point on is justified. History, who cares? Reality, who cares?
Yeah, and the vast majority of people don't feel that way whatsoever. The vast majority of people do not feel it's like that, everything Israel does justified. No, most people, and this is what I fucking hate about these arrogant lefty communist futtards, is that they just assume, because I think in black and white, everybody else must as well. No, actually, most people look at the world in shades of gray and they pick and choose their beliefs and whatnot, like as if it's a fucking buffet, because that's how the real world fucking works.
They don't care about that.
I don't think they can comprehend that. Their mind is in a binary. Is the world is good, evil, black, white, when that's not fucking true.
That. So is this a universal aspect of human nature? Accepting genocide, committing genocide, being ignorant, deliberately blind? Well, I have a theory. A game. Obviously, we're all susceptible to groupthink. I live in Massachusetts in a famously liberal area. I was brought up to be okay with people being different, to basically not even care about it because, ain't my fucking business, dude. Which doesn't actually work. Like when I got older, I learned that you have to care about differences between you and other people. And
yeah, correct. Like we do have to care about differences. Like for example, when these Islamic grooming gangs that have a certain way that their world works over in the Middle East decide to start coming over to the West and try to treat it like it's still the Middle East and they can take 9-year-old brides. Yeah, we should probably care about that and say that's no good. So we should give a fuck. We should give a fuck when 37-year-old fucking trans individuals say that it's okay to cut little 12-year-old Jimmy's cock off. We should probably fucking care about that. But again, those are cultural things, not necessarily race-based things. But anyway, go on.
Yeah, but you have the genocide going over in Gaza. Why don't you care about that instead?
You want to know the real easy answer why I don't care about what's going on in Gaza?
Why is that?
Because they're all inferior to us here in America. Whatever happens to all those fucking sand people, it just doesn't really affect me.
So why doesn't... I feel like we should take that approach.
For everything else? Yes, good.
And work with them accordingly. You got to create a mutual understanding. We're not all coming from the same place with the same background, but people brought up in other places were taught very differently from me. But for the massive majority, we're born, grow old, and die without ever committing a violent crime, let alone directly murdering somebody. 1% of the population accounts for 63% of violent crime, according to the National Library of Medicine. And that's not just in America, that's a universal thing. So if the vast majority of people are peaceful, how does something like genocide happen? And why does it happen so often? Well, maybe it's not the people in general, it's the people who govern in general. You see, in order to get power, you first have to want it. Then you gotta fight for it. Then you gotta grab it. It's a lot of work. You gotta really...
Notice how he's not showing any left-leaning or communist regimes that did genocides, even though those have always existed.
Well, yeah, but again, I feel like that's
We're
self-awareness.
familiar with the Gulag Archipelago. Yeah, TDS is off the charts. Yeah, Trump bad. Yeah, that's what this 30-minute video is.
Really want that power. Naturally, this pursuit of power attracts certain types of people with certain personality traits. There have been a veritable buttload of studies done on this, from the National Institute of Health to scholarly papers and studies by psychological experts. And while there's no confirmed statistics, it's largely agreed on that a minimum of 4% of leaders have one, all, or a combo of what's known as the dark triad. That is narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism. Vocab word of the day. So they scraped and clawed and fought for all this power, removed the people that had the power before them, did what it took. But why? Why would anybody go through all of that? What even starts you on that journey? Well, you have to think that you deserve it because you're the best person to wield that power. That's called narcissism, an inflated ego, arrogance, a need.
Dude is talking about narcissism and inflated ego and whatnot when he just spent 30 minutes huffing his own fucking farts about genocide, as if he is not the most narcissistic person we've watched on this channel in a long fucking time.
Oh,
this
yeah.
dude has most women we see on Zach's Saturday Night Show beat.
You're right. Although I think like the women that Zax brings on for wait, you said Saturday Night Hypnosis?
Yeah, no, Zach's Saturday Night Show. Like when we watch the clips of dumb broads being dumb broads and like arrest videos and shit.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the panel. I was gonna say no. I'm pretty sure those ones are a lot more collected than this dude.
For approval, which is all used to mask a deep sense of insecurity. It's a stereotype, you know, like that short, angry guy. Now the plotting, planning, scheming, and exploitation of everyone and everything in their way on their path forward, that's Machiavellianism. The prioritization of self, status, and power above everything else. And the glue that holds all of this together, the ability to do everything without sucking the barrel of a gun like it's the tastiest lollipop you ever had, the little cherry on top, is psychopathy, marked by impulsiveness and a complete lack of empathy and remorse. No regrets, am I right, bro? This probably sounds like every major anime villain ever. I wonder why. Like but you see, people like...
Go on.
No, it sounds like this guy.
It does sound like this guy. Yes, the unaware, the lack of self-awareness is truly astounding. Also, that didn't sound like every anime villain out there, because most writers aren't one-dimensional writers. They can write cool, unique, interesting, complex characters. And so, yeah, they don't all just follow that one generic trope.
This don't stop when they get all the power. They just turn all of their personality disorders on us, the people. That deep sense of insecurity requires a perpetrator to punish. Use that amoral manipulation and scheming on the public to make them fear that enemy of choice, hate them, blame them for all their problems, make it their moral obligation to hate, to otherize in the name of God, of patriotism, make them fear for their children's safety. It's not the leader you see that's making you scared and miserable with state-sponsored media. It's Group X. It's not the leader who's taking away your money and your homes and your food and your safety and your fucking dignity. It's Group X. But what if people don't buy all the propaganda? What if they're too smart? Well, then they attack the education, get them at their roots, make them stupid from the day they were born, right? And then they're just going to swallow everything you feed them. They're just going to believe it. You know, you're the God King, right? And Group X, they're the evil, the sinners, the people who are destroying everything that you loved and cared about in your history and your culture.
Going
blah,
off
blah, blah.
He's not very good
They're
at
doing a secret genocide to you, you see. You must understand. Look around.
He's
Hundreds of
projecting
thousands
again.
of people are dying every day. Can't you tell? And what do you get from all of that? Genocide. And how can
what I got was a 31-minute and 57-second video about dumb shit that I don't care about, that is inherently ideological and mostly factually incorrect.
a leader possibly do this? How could anyone do this? Complete lack of empathy and remorse. Psychopathy. Recognize these signs, signals, and tactics. Fight it. If you're an anime fan, you've been primed from a young age to rebel against this kind of manipulation, to fight for good, for the people who can't fight for themselves.
Correct. As anime fans, we've been primed from a young age to reject the manipulation that is coming from this propaganda video. That is correct.
to see that a few bad actors don't represent a population or a religion or a sexuality or anything at all. These stories are entertainment, yes, but they also instill a message about morality, because there is morality at stake in every struggle. But hey, that's just my take. Hope you enjoyed this very fun episode. Maybe if you think it's important for voices in this space and many more spaces to be speaking about these things, share it. Share it with your family. Make your own video. I said earlier that we should all do something, no matter how small. So do what you can, when you can, and take pride in it.
Well, all I can do is dunk on this video and this dude's ideology, but it was a fun romp doing so. Sydney, what are your final thoughts on that video?
Somebody was asking if we could see the comments on this video, and I'm kind of curious about it as well.
Yeah, we can bring up the comments on it. I'm sure that it's just echo chamber bullshit, but yeah, we'll definitely pull up the comments. One second.
Do they wait? They can delete a comment if they don't like it. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can delete comments you don't like. I don't know if this dude would do that or not. I wouldn't be surprised if he would do that or not. YouTube, you said the G word 84 times. Prepare to be demonetized. Immorality is scary. Yeah, so this dude, he's noticing that it did not do very well viewership wise, ignoring that all the rest of his videos haven't done well. Gundam isn't Gundam without genocide. I hope there's a lot who actually learn from this. I'm in my 50s. Oh, and Canadian. Okay, and Canadian. I was taught a lot of this in high school. That I took interest in history. That made me better informed at the cost of some happiness. You can't study real history without getting disturbed. You become one of my favorite creators this past year. Oh, dear God. Absolutely love all the big swings the channel's been taking and the morals has been teaching. You don't need a fucking YouTuber to be teaching you morals. Myself included, by the way. But you all are smart enough to fucking know that. You don't get your moral guidelines from me because you're not fucking retarded. Don't forget the massacre in the Eskimo lands of World War II. Japanese troops attacked these islands trying to get the U.S. attention while the real attack was aimed at the Midland Islands. So, yeah, that has nothing to do. Social and political analysis through art is so important. Keep it up. No, it's not. While the comments are always a bit of a swamp in these videos, I super appreciate you being unapologetic. It's not been a swamp. It's all been an echo chamber.
Yeah, it is. Okay. This is so stupid.
But I haven't seen a single person disagreeing. Sorry, what were you saying?
No, I never comment on your videos, but bravo, my guy. Oh, fuck off. Come on.
You're a man. Trust me, he is not a man.
That is a trans woman or a trans man for sure.
Yeah, again, this is a complete fucking echo chamber, guys. Sorry, this is a complete fucking echo chamber. It wasn't even, but I will say, I did run an analysis of his channel through ChatGPT, and here's what ChatGPT had to say. Are you familiar with the channel Bonsai Pop? Yes, I'm familiar with the YouTube channel Bonsai Pop. It's a popular anime-focused channel known for thoughtful, long-form video essays and discussions about anime, manga, Japanese culture, and related topics. Here's a quick overview. Bonsai Pop is a Patreon-supported anime YouTube channel created by Mike Pixley and Tyler Barron, originally affiliated with Treesicle, and the channel produces analysis, discussion, reviews, and philosophical takes on anime, history, and culture, often in a narrative essay format rather than just surface reviews. Typical context, deep dives, explorations, opinion pieces. The channel has a strong community and Patreon support. So I said, I would disagree with your very charitable description of their content, would argue, at least with their recent history of the last year or so, they have shifted to using anime as a springboard for pushing socialist and communistic ideologies and justifying them by making the claims that all anime is political, specifically endorsing far-left viewpoints. You're not alone in that perspective. It's a critique that a number of anime fans have voiced, especially over the past couple of years. Here's a more honest critical framing that reflects both channels' style and the critiques you're articulating. Bonsai Pop positions itself as a deep analysis channel, touching on culture, meaning, and personal interpretation of anime-related media. Many viewers feel the channel has shifted from the cultural interpretive analysis towards pushing specific political ideologies, particularly on the left. Key points of that critique include framing anime as inherently political. Critics argue some videos assert every anime is political, reading socio-political meaning into works where many fans see entertainment or aesthetic storytelling, endorsing far-left perspectives. Some viewers feel like videos make implicit or explicit endorsements of socialist, collectivist, or left-leaning viewpoints, with arguments that certain societal issues depicted in anime justify contemporary political stances. Using anime as a vehicle for modern politics, instead of examining anime on its own merits, critics see the channel stretching interpretations to support modern political views, e.g. criticisms of capitalism, calls for social reform, which alienates viewers seeking neutral analysis. Shift over time, longtime viewers often point out that earlier Bonsai Pop content was more about narrative, philosophy, and media theory, whereas more recent content feels agenda-driven and less focused on the medium itself.
Well, yeah, especially since we just went through a 30-minute video about how anime is fascist, but all it was America sucks.
Yeah. A balanced, non-charitable summary. A more critical summary might be Bonsai Pop is an anime analysis channel that often interprets anime through a socio-political lens. And in recent years, many viewers feel it frequently endorses far left or socialist ideas, framing political ideology as central to understanding anime and culture. Yep. Nice that we were able to get some honesty out of ChatGPT after they were being, again, far too charitable at first. Let's see. The Murvaugh came in with a 2-banger. Anime fans want escapism. Hate New Gen fans. Me too, brother. Yeah. Me too. And then Junebug loves you for a 2-banger. Have a good one. You have a good one as well. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you for dropping by. It was a good time. All right, let's see. Yeah, Treesicle was good back in the day, man. Treesicle was good back in the day. It's funny how you have to tell ChatGPT to knock off the commie shit and get real answers from it. Yeah, but to ChatGPT's credit, at least it does it. All right,
yeah, that's true.
So we don't have a lot of time left because you got to be on ABFs in what, 20 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
So what we'll do is try and expeditiously get through this next video. It's 12 minutes long, so depending on how long we, how much we pause and whatnot. However, I do want to talk about this. I want to leave this on a good note because that was an hour and a half of brain rot. New leaked info just dropped for the next mainline Zelda game, and it's wild. A breath of wild, would you say?
Dun, dun, dun. I see what you did.
All righty. I've said many a time that the only thing that get me to buy a Switch 2 would be a new mainline Zelda or Smash game. So these are just leaks. Take them with a grain of thought, grain of salt. But let's see what we think. Obviously, a shill site.
Well, guys, already just 3 days into the new year, we have info on possibly the next mainline Zelda game, which is kind of crazy to even think about because Tears of the Kingdom just came out in 2023. I don't want to make it seem like it just came out. I mean, that was almost 3 years ago now, soon in May. But we might already know some information about the game, and this is actually some serious information about how the game might play out, what it might look like, and what it might even play like. Now, of course, take everything with a grain of salt. This comes from Special Nick, where Special Nick has pretty much a 100% track record. He had info on Prime 4 being more open, but not open world, which he got right with the desert. He correctly knew about the Switch 2 launch month, and also the pricing and the Mario Kart World Bundle, and he even knew that Nintendo was remastering Mario Galaxy 2. He's been pretty spot on about his information. And the information that he has that I will share with you guys today is pretty interesting. So make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Zelda and Nintendo in general. You guys almost got us 380,000 subscribers to reach our ultimate goal of 400K. Almost 200 of you subscribed yesterday. Thank you so much.
Nice.
Let's see how many we can get on today's video as we continue to start the new year all strong. Thank you guys so much for your support. And let's dive into this rumor. So first off, Special Nick states that we will be staying around the Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom style of format. Now,
I already don't like that. Zelda needs to, I know it never will, but Zelda needs to go back to its traditional linear dungeon style roots.
Okay, so it's going to be open world again?
That's what the leaker's saying. It'd be at least the same gameplay format. Maybe not necessarily the same map and everything, but same gameplay format.
Not sure if he's hinting at it being a third Breath of the Wild style of game. The way he was talking definitely sounds like it. Once again, if you want to hear the exact moment in the podcast, he has timestamps on his podcast that I'll link down below where you can just go straight to the Zelda segment. But to me, the way he was talking sounded an awful lot like he was trying to say this is going to be a follow-up to Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, which for a lot of people, this might make them upset. Now, once again, this isn't confirmed. This is just me speculating off of the format that he was talking in. Maybe he just means this is going to be an open air format again, like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, but a completely different art style, a different era of Zelda. That's what I'm hoping for. But just based on some information that I'm about to talk about here soon, and the way he was talking about, yeah, it kind of sounds like we're going to still be in that world. But he also says it's going to be an engine. But
I don't dislike Breath of the Wild or anything. However, it's a gimmick that I think it robs from the identity of what Zelda is. Like, I actually like Breath of the Wild a lot. Tears of the Kingdom, I'm pretty mixed on, but overall, I enjoyed it for what it was. That doesn't mean that as an older fan, I much prefer the original, the core identity of what Zelda is. I just don't think these games do it very well.
I feel like you can satisfy both, right? Just have two different games. Because didn't they come out with like another more, what was it?
Yeah, Echoes of Wisdom, which started Zelda, was more traditional in the way it played Zelda games. Yeah.
Yeah, and
with
then you just
enhancement.
make another one of these or make a new IP.
I don't even know about making another one of these though, unless they're going to completely overhaul the map and everything. Because, like, again, I like Tears of the Kingdom. I like everything it added, but it still was more, just a lot more of the same. I want the great thing about Zelda is that every adventure was a completely new, different adventure, a completely new, different map. And I like that. I like how fresh they're always able to make it with and to varying degrees of success. Fuck Skyward Sword, but like I don't want to see the same fucking map again. I really don't necessarily want to see it be open world, but if they're gonna make it be open world, I don't know. The narrative, there needs to be a far more heavy there needs to be a far more heavy narrative structure to it, so that it feels like we're actually completing a story.
I think that's fair. I don't know. I think they're cashing in on they're going to keep doing this until they absolutely kill the franchise.
I think you're right.
It's obviously with bigger and stronger hardware now. The Switch 2 is going to be able to do some things that the previous two games with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom could not do on Switch 1, which is exciting. But yeah, I mean, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess use the exact same engine, so don't take this as, oh, this has to mean it's in the same world then. No, not necessarily. And obviously, with them using the same engine and maybe adding some tweaks, making it a little bit stronger, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it might even help development time be a lot faster, and the engine that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom uses is already really, really good. It has a great physics engine and everything. Like, there's no need for them to change really too much with that. Now, it is described as how we got Tears of the Kingdom. Lots of the ways that the source of this information actually described this as to Special Nick was tears in reality, or tears in reality. It's maybe a play on words, but yeah, he uses the phrase tears in reality a lot. And that is because apparently the puzzles in the main gimmick this time around will be cross-dimensional, which means that you'll be able to do things in one dimension and it will affect the dimension that you're in. Apparently, this is one of the examples given. A charging bull chases you in one dimension and it hits a target to activate something in your dimension. This will then unlock a door or do something to, access a new area in your dimension. This might sound very familiar. This sounds like the Dark World from Link to the Past or Low Rule from Link Between Worlds. Now, this is actually something I was really praying for with Tears of the Kingdom. I thought if they're going to reuse the same world, what better way?
I agree. If they're going to be doing something along the lines of, yo, what up, Nick? How you doing, homie? Thanks for the raid, brother.
Hey, Nick.
If they're going to be doing things that's, integrate world to world, again, like Link to the Past, Link Between Worlds, I like that as a gimmick. I do. It's something that Zelda's done before. It's something Zelda excels at. I still have my reservations about doing that in open world, but maybe that gives a lot of grace for there to be like secrets and secret areas, which, Breath of the Wild did do a very good job of. Tears of the Kingdom did do a good job of. So it just depends on how heavy they go with it.
True. I'm gonna withhold judgment.
Yeah, fair enough.
Same world than to have a light and dark world variant, so that way we can see this awesome world of Breath of the Wild, but in the dark world as well, where things look different and the people are different and the creatures and enemies are different and there's dungeons down there. Oh, that would be so cool. But of course, they actually did not go with that. Instead, they went with the depths, which ended up just being giant empty catacombs down below. So yeah, maybe this is finally what they want to do now, and they needed hardware that was stronger in order to do this from the beginning, which would then make sense, and I'd understand why they couldn't do it before. But yeah, this is awesome. Being able to see the Dark World in a mainline 3D Zelda game will be the first time ever. It'll be a complete first for the series. And I would love to see puzzles that actually, use those other dimensions. It seems like we'll be...
Yeah, but if we're going... we need to see a return to actual fucking dungeons. Like, the ones in Tears of the Kingdom, I get it was kind of a return to form. They were better than the Divine Beasts, but they were still way too fucking easy. Way too easy.
I don't know. They just felt like little puzzles, not dungeons.
Are you referring to the shrines or the actual, like, temples?
Oh, I meant the shrines.
Yeah, no. I mean, like, because you had to go to, like, the sand temple, the water temple. You had to go to all the temples like you did back in the old, like, Ocarina of Time days and whatnot. But they were so easy. They were so linear and simple.
Oh, that's fair.
able
Yeah.
to oops in order to do something in one dimension that will affect the dimension that we are currently in. Like maybe even have a bull run through dimensions from another one to hit a specific target that you cannot reach in your dimension. But another example that Special Nick gives is water makes things float to the surface. Example, there is a room with a chain and ball. You open up a dimension that has water on that side and you pour in water from another dimension into your dimension in order to fill up the moat or the pool or whatever you need to fill up in order to get that chain and ball to rise, which will then open up a section or whatever you need to access where that ball was clogging. Think of a drain where you fill it up with water and the ball and chain rises, and you fill it up with water from a completely different dimension. Now, from this water example, one thing I think we all can really wish for and hope for is that we can actually swim underwater this time around. It's something that I desperately want.
Do we want that though? Like, water levels notoriously suck. Do we want water levels?
I sure don't. So when he said that, my brain went, no.
Yeah. That's one of the things in Breath of the Wild that I get a lot of people want to see, like, what it would look like. Oh, all this beautiful art. Let's see what it looks like underwater and stuff. And, like, sure, there's an aesthetic, like, there might be something aesthetically pleasing. But water levels in most games notoriously fucking suck.
Yeah, no, this would not make it better, in my opinion.
Agreed.
To do in both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, but you could only swim on the surface. So hopefully they allow us to have the abilities to actually swim underwater again, which has been a thing in past Zelda games, especially things like Skyward Sword, which was like the last mainline Zelda game that allowed us to do this. That's why it's the best Zelda game. But yeah, like it seems like this is going to be heavily focused on Link having some type of interdimensional powers this time around. Now, Special Nick finishes off by stating that this game is going to be years away still, at least 3 to 4 years. Obviously, I don't think this shocked anybody. Breath of the Wild came out in 2017, and obviously we know it used the same engine with Tears of the Kingdom and a lot of the same assets as Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, it's a direct sequel, and that game didn't come out until...
Yeah, and I don't want to see that again. I don't want to see reused assets. Like, it worked for Majora's Mask, right? It worked for Majora's Mask that had like a 1-year development time frame. By the time of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, it was kind of boring.
Yeah. Although I haven't played a lot of Zelda games, so.
Oh, I've got some bangers you should play then.
2023, 6 years later. But the problem is we don't know if this is going to be a direct follow-up to Tears of the Kingdom. And that's the first thing I'm going to kind of touch on. What do you guys think about this? Because I don't necessarily want this to happen. In fact, I'm actively against it. When I think of being able to open up rifts from our world and enter a different dimension, the first thing that comes in my mind is we're going to have the same world for a third time. I mean, because where else would they put us in the world of Breath of the Wild? I mean, there are far off lands that we can see outside of the border of the map. Are they actually going to allow us to go out there? Is the main Hyrule going to...
Well, and that's the thing. Zelda games traditionally, most of the time they always take place in Hyrule. But they take place in Hyrule hundreds of years apart from one another. So it's a different Hyrule. The geography has changed. The landscape's changed. The towns have changed. Stuff like that. Which is why Tears of the Kingdom doesn't work as well for me. It's like it's 2 or 3 years later in the timeline. So you've got the exact same world.
Yeah. But I mean, like, you can also change... like the story but keep the setting. I don't know, the map should be different. I don't feel like you should keep capitalizing on this particular Link.
I completely agree. If you want to send Link and the Tears of the Kingdom timeline to some far off land that's not from the first two, that works as well. Maybe Zelda is like, hey, to help Hyrule restore after the attacks of Ganon, we need resources from in this land here. I'm sending Link, my chosen champion, across the seas to investigate this new land, and like Link unfolds an adventure there. I'm fine with that. It's in the same time frame, but a whole new map or something. Yeah, I'm down.
Again, and then that gives them an excuse to have a Dark World version of our Hyrule. I feel like it's kind of too late to do that because it'll be the third time we have this world. I think we're all pretty much sick and tired of this world by now. I mean, people were already complaining about this with Tears of the Kingdom. Can you imagine the complaints with the next game? So if they do stay with the same art style, the same story, like the same characters, it's just a progression of the story, they have to have a new world. I think if there's a new world, people won't be as upset, but I think it's time for explore a completely new story, a new art style, new characters, new worlds, new enemies, a new villain, stuff like that, I think it's time. And I just don't know if that's going to happen. It almost feels like Nintendo is starting a brand new timeline or something with this whole Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom story being the beginning, because we still have questions about the timeline placement, because it seems like almost Nintendo has this Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom story branched off in a separate area with the timeline. So yeah, it's making me wonder, are they starting like this new thing where Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom is going to be the basis for this next timeline or something? I don't know. I'm just speculating and throwing out ideas, but hopefully this is a completely new experience, a new style of game, and we don't revisit the same world again. As for the opening interdimensional rifts idea, I think this is genius. This feels like something Nintendo would do, and I can't even imagine what the puzzles could be. I mean, the ideas could be endless for what they could do if you could open up dimensional rifts and have like a mirror dimension in any location or any area that you're at on the map. And could you imagine how exciting that would be? Remember the excitement for the first time we landed on the Great Plateau, or we jumped off the Great Plateau and saw the giant world that we could explore and figure out what is going on. It was a big mystery. It was a giant exploration, which is something that I missed so much in Tears of the Kingdom. But Breath of the Wild allowed us to, explore this brand new world for the first time ever. Could you imagine if the next mainline 3D Zelda game allows us to not only explore a brand new world for the first time ever, but also a mirror dimension of that world where there's like a darker, creepier, more corrupt version of Hyrule, giving us kind of a similar story to something that we've seen in Twilight Princess, A Link Between Worlds, or A Link to the Past, having a...
Well, as much as I would love to continue this, Cindy has to get going. She has to go to ABF's show, which we're going to raid right into. So it seems like he was pretty much just saying the same thing over and over at that point anyway. Yeah, I want to see a new Zelda game, but I don't want to be in that same formula or format. But Cindy, get on out of here before you do tell me who you are, what you do, the whole nine, then we'll follow you with a raid.
Okay, well, real quick, my thoughts on that video. I loved Breath of the Wild. Tears of the Kingdom was all right, but I liked Breath of the Wild more. I don't want a third. I really don't. So I hope this is not the case. But other than that, guys, I will be heading over to ABF for Off the Hip, so come hang out after this stream. And I have my own stream at 11:50 p.m. tonight. I cannot wait. I am still a little bit sick, so bear with me, guys. I'm a little slow, but that's kind of normal. But yeah, thanks so much for hanging out, and thank you, Leon. I do appreciate it.
No problem.
I'll see you later.
Out of here, and I'll do the outros and stuff.
All right, I'll see y'all later.
Alrighty, guys, as for me, we're running up to the end of the show. We're going to raid directly into ABF, so make sure that you go over there, you type Vital Idol Raid. Let's give ABF a massive opening to today's stream. And on top of that, I just want to say, to remind all of you, tomorrow night, we have a watch party in the Discord. We'll also be having one on Thursday, so we get two of them this week. Tomorrow in the Discord, we are watching Cocaine Bear. So if you haven't joined the Discord, if you became a member and you haven't joined it, make sure you join. I will update the link immediately after the stream as such. Beyond that, man, yeah, I would love to hear you guys' thoughts. Don't forget to like the stream if you haven't, sub if you haven't subbed, comment afterwards, helps the algorithm, and check out the video I released today talking about Freerin and fascism. Reacted to Smugglana for the first time. It was a great time, and I will see you guys tomorrow with Cindy and Sammy for Tinfoil Haters, and I think that's pretty much all we got. So again, for those of you that donated, it means the absolute world to me. Thank you so much, and until next time, it is all here in the Nerdosphere, and this has been Words of Paradise.